welcome back to the Cheap channel, the channel dedicated to all things cheap in the world of fragrances. In today's video, we are taking a look at a single fragrance that has actually been fairly hyped, at least recently, in the cheapy fragrance community, or those who do appreciate cheapies. It came out not too long ago, maybe about like a month and a half to 2 months ago, which is actually kind of out of season for what this smells like, and we'll get into that later. I was very fortunate to be able to get my hands on it. I thought that it was going to be a limited edition for a certain website, and Fragrance Buy happened to get some in, and it was available, so I went ahead and snatched it up when I could. And I'm very excited to have it because it is this one here, Lattafa's Najdia Intense. So, recently I actually released a video on the Najdia line, and when this was announced and was actually released, people were commenting in there saying, hey, did you know that now there's Najdia Intense? You don't actually have the full lineup now. You don't have all of them. You got to get the Intense one. And I knew that I had to get it. I knew I was going to have to release it because I am a completionist. So I knew that I wasn't going to feel fulfilled until I actually had it and was able to review it and have it on this channel. And I am actually glad that I have it now because how it smells, it's really nice. Very different from anything else I have, and we'll go ahead and get into that. So let's go ahead and look at the presentation real quick. This is very similar to how the rest of the Najdia line looks. It has that leaf kind of imprint on it, with the transparent look through it. The juice is actually kind of a little bit of a light blue, almost greenish kind of coloration, and the print actually that is colorized is a grayish color. The cap is the same kind of cap and top that they have on the other ones, except this one actually has kind of a felt velvet kind of feel to it. I don't mind that personally, but my wife actually does not like that kind of texture. It kind of makes her have a weird feeling, and the box actually is covered with that same kind of texture. And I know Ash from Gent Sense doesn't like it either, but I don't personally mind it. I'm not really grabbing it by that cap too often. I grab it from the sides more likely, but it is very interesting. It's very nice, and goes in line with everything else that they do on the Najdia line, just trying to step each thing up at a time. So this is the most recent release in the Najdia line. The Najdia line by Lattafa isn't really one that they've kind of put out a lot. It's very to itself. They don't have anything that's too consistent. I think the first one came out maybe sometime back in like 2017, 2018 or so, and then you had Najdia in Gold, and then you had Najdia Tribute, and now this one. The first Najdia had a very bubblegum sweetness, very similar to Invictus or Invictus Aqua. It was very, aquatic, marine, a little sea salty, a lot more spicy than Invictus or Invictus Aqua, more closer to something like Rosasi's Hawas. And then you had Najdia in Gold, which is a little unisex, but way more feminine leaning, in my opinion. Very powdery, almost powdered candy, sweetness, floral, little woody, ambery. Still had a good bit of freshness to it. It's very similar to Givenchy's L'Internit, which is a women's release. And then you had Najdia Tribute, which was one that is very violet heavy, a little leathery, kind of medicinal, Middle Eastern, almost oud woodiness in the background. Not something that everyone's gonna be attracted to, but it's very similar to something like Dior's Fahrenheit, but a little more aquatic, a little more on that Middle Eastern twist kind of way. And then you have this one here, Lattafa's Najdia Intense. And this one has quickly been making its rounds all through the community, people reviewing it, showing it online. So I'm a little late to the party getting it, but I'm still glad that I do have it. But now, what does this one smell like? In case you haven't seen any of those reviewers, or if you just want to see what my take is on it, I'll go ahead and tell you. To me, what this one smells like is very tropical, fruity, has a little bit of a coconut factor to it, even though that's not a note in it, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Very aquatic, a little fresh, has a good bit of a little bit of a green aspect to it, a little bit aromatic, a little bit of a creamy woodiness in the background, fairly sweet all through the fragrance, and keeps a little bit of a light freshness to it. Let's go ahead and get to the note breakdown real quick. On those top notes, you have mint, ginger, pineapple, and apple. The middle notes you have are marine notes, lavender, and geranium, and those base notes are sandalwood, tonka bean, patchouli, and musk. So immediately what I noticed with this is that pineapple note. It's very dominant, and that mint note. The more I've been able to wear it recently, that mint's come out a little bit more. You do get the lavender, very noticeable. You definitely get the marine notes in this, almost adding a salty aquatic factor to it rather than just being watery and fresh. And that dry down does come out with that tonka bean, that powdery sweetness and that sandalwood. Like I said, that creamy woodiness is there and a good bit of musk. There is a little bit of a floral aspect to this, but it's not really too noticeable. And a lot of people are saying that this is very similar to Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Beau Paradise Garden because it's not as coconut, tonka bean, almost iris powdery aspect like the rest of the Le Beau line, not as, you know, tropical, milky, creamy as that either. But I do think that Le Beau Paradise Garden is more green. Obviously it's higher quality, more full, and probably a little bit more fresh. This also does not have a coconut note in it, but it is weird how it's almost in there. Maybe it's the lavender and creamy sandalwood, maybe some of that tonka bean, almost adding a coconut aspect, but it's definitely noticeable. And also with that pineapple note and the apple, it has a little bit of almost a sour fruitiness. I gotta be honest, when I first sprayed it and tried it on the test strip and then wore it on my skin, my wife did not like it. For some reason, she was like, I'm just not for it. And I smelled it and I almost didn't like it either. It had, like I said, almost a sour, tangy aspect to it, which was almost like a soured fruit kind of smell. To be honest with you, like if you left pineapple and some other fruits in the bottom of your refrigerator and forgot about them for about a week and a half, that kind of not really rancid smell, but almost there. That's exactly what you kind of get. But I will say, after wearing it more and let it macerate, like most Middle Eastern fragrances, it has smoothed out a good bit. It's gotten a lot more tolerable and actually a lot more likable as well. Obviously, this is going to be way more suited for the spring and summertime, which is weird that this came out toward the end of last year when most people were hitting fall and winter, the colder seasons. But hey, what can you do? I think that's kind of the thing that most fragrance companies do, is release it at the wrong time. When they do hit it right, at least they hit it good, but a lot of times they're not gonna hit it when you want to. But again, more suited for the warmer weather. It is a very tropical, casual wear, fun, loving fragrance. I don't think this is something that you would probably wanna wear in the office because it does have that astringent, well, not really too astringent, but very piercing, sweet, tangy, fruitiness to it. It's probably gonna be something that not everyone's gonna appeal to. It is aromatic, you know. A lot of people say it has a little bit of a spiciness, but I don't think that ginger is too spicy. I have smelled very realistic ginger notes, and this is not too noticeable, to at least to me, in this. And also the power that this has is probably not gonna be too suitable for the office either. And speaking of, performance on this is really, really good. I didn't really get too impressive performance, again, when I first wore it, but I've been wearing it through the weeks, trying to prepare for this review and really get a sense of what this thing is about the best that I can. And I gotta say, it's really, really good. Very medium to loud for that first hour, maybe 45 minutes. The atomizer on this is not the best, so you will have to spray a lot to get the application that you want. The Najdia line is known for not having the best atomizers, so you might have to double spray to get the same amount of spray as you would and probably in more average to better performing atomizer. But when you do apply enough of it, it does have that medium to loud projection for that short little bit. And then the longevity on this is really good, actually, way better than the rest of the line, probably aside from Najdia Tribute. This easily has about 7 hours longevity, if not longer, on clothes. I mean, I sprayed this on my bedclothes while I was wearing it around the house, and even the next night when I went to use those clothes again, I could still smell that dry down, that sweet, powdery, tropical. It still had a little bit of that fruitiness still there, and it was very impressed. I was like, man, it's still there. I can't believe it. So clothes are gonna have way better longevity, but even on skin, I could smell it when I woke up the next morning. So again, 7 hours. It depends on, again, how you wear it, how hot it is, how much you sweat, how much, you know, friction you have between your clothes and your skin. It just depends about all of that, but I got really good performance out of it. As far as the quality, I will say that this is the better quality out of all the line. That's kind of to be expected. I mean, with it being intense, you expect the performance to be better than the rest of the flankers, and you also expect the quality to be better to help with that projection and longevity as well. It's way smoother than the rest of the line, actually has more of that designer air about it, like it's more put together, but still better quality synthetics and aroma chemicals, better formulation, better perfumery put into it. It's just really good, way improvement over everything else that they have. And I think the Najdia line is really underrated. It seems like it's going more as a, you know, fresher line. Doesn't really have anything that's dark or intense or, you know, brooding and sultry in it. It's way more things that are light, fresh, airy. I mean, you have the first one again being like Invictus, the second one being like Internet, and then you have Tribute, which is kind of be either or, things that are more light. So hopefully we get more out of the Najdia line, especially with the hype behind this one. So hopefully Lattafa can notice that and put out more things in the Najdia line, things that are more interesting and things that are even better quality than this one. I would really love to see that. And real quick, I want to answer a question before I see them in the comments. Someone's probably going to ask sooner or later how this compares to other cheapies that are similar to things in the LeBeau line, like Tommy Hilfiger's Vibrant Summer and even Lattafa's Assad Zanzibar. What I'll say real quick is that Tommy Hilfiger's Vibrant Summer is way more on that solar note, that, you know, spiky sunscreen kind of note. The coconut's not going to be as nutty or tropical as it is in this. It's gonna be a little more sweet. It also has more of an Ambroxan kind of feel to it, a little more, you know, in that Tommy Hilfiger designer kind of style, and not gonna be as, I think, fruity, noticeable fruity as this one. It's gonna be more of a kind of melted together fruitiness. And as far as Assad Zanzibar, it's gonna be way more powdery than this, way more milky, creamy, especially in that sandalwood and iris, you know, combination. And plus it actually has a coconut water note. So it's an actual listed coconut note in there, unlike this one. So the coconut's gonna be way more noticeable in that. And like I said, more powdery, creamy. I think it's probably a little more versatile too than this. I think it could be in even the fall season besides spring and summer. This is probably gonna be just for spring and summertime, but that's what I get out of it. This is way more noticeable on that fruits note on the top, especially that mint. Pineapple, again, it might come off a little tangy, sour to some, but that'll smooth out over time. And this has way more push as well than even Tommy Hilfiger's Vibrant Summer. Way better performance than that. I think as far as Assad Zanzibar, it's probably equal in performance. Both of these seem to get very, very good performance. But that's the one I want to answer real quick before I see that in the comments, because I know someone's going to ask about it and ask why I haven't made a comparison. So there's the contrast and comparison right there. As far as availability, like I said, I think this appeared on another site, and another third-party fragrance website that I haven't really seen a whole lot of, that it came to first. Maybe it was Fragrance X or one of the other ones. I don't think it was Joma Shop, but it was one of the other fragrance sites that people said it came to first, and they were saying it was limited edition, and I was afraid that I was never going to be able to get my hands on it because everyone kept getting it from that site. But then FragranceBuy.ca happened to get it in stock, and they've been selling it since, and that's when I happened to get my hands on it. So I would suggest going there, and if you don't see it on any other fragrance site, to try it out there first. I'm pretty sure after a while, if this isn't a true limited edition, you're gonna be seeing this on probably every fragrance site out there. Even Amazon is probably gonna carry it at some point. And as far as the price that I got this at, I actually got this for around $33, which is gonna be the more expensive than any of the other Najdia line. I know the original Najdia is like 14 bucks, and Najdia in Gold is around 20, and Najdia Tribute's around like 18 or 19. So this is definitely more expensive, but for good reason. Again, the better quality, better scent profile, way fuller, way better performing, definitely the like step or two up above everything else. Way more likable too, depending on how you look at it, and gonna be something that more people are gonna probably be trying to get their hands on, especially with how unique the scent profile is in comparison to everything else. Because I mean, it's not going for LeBeau or LeBeau Le Parfum like a lot of other fragrances are. It's going for LeBeau Paradise Garden, or at least that's the gist of what people think it's going for, which is already the more controversial one. A lot of people seem to like it, and a lot of people seem to not like it. I think it's gonna be the same feeling about this one here, but I personally really like it. Super excited to wear this as soon as it hits back in the spring, summer weather, the warmer weather where it feels like it's actually more appropriate to wear it, even though I have been wearing this inside in our cold winter. But I can't wait to actually get out when the sun's back out and the flowers and the trees and the beach time vibes and really rock this where it actually feels like I'm supposed to be wearing it. I do highly recommend that you try this one out. I don't think it'd be possible or easy to sample this one, but if you do happen to get a sample of it sometime down the road, definitely try it out. If not, you may just have to reach out and blind buy it. But don't just do it because of the hype or because everyone's telling you to. Do it because that scent profile sounds good to you, and especially if you want something that is in that green, fruity, tropical kind of feel. It'll be perfect again for these summer and vacation beach vibes. I think everyone should have some kind of fragrance that has that profile and air in it. But there you go, guys. That is my take and review on Lattafa Najdia Intense. Probably a lot of you didn't expect to see this, or at least didn't expect to see it so soon, but I did want to hurry up and get it in, especially if I had the chance to, because I might not ever had that chance later, and I wanted to cover it. Again, I'm a completionist. I wanted to go ahead and have all the Najdia in line, especially after putting out that video, and then this came out right after. It just seemed like it's kind of like a slap in the face, like, oh, you thought you had it all. So I did want to go ahead and get this video out and talk about it, so it was already on the channel for you people to enjoy and watch. But again, guys, this is my take on it. What do you think about it? Have you have this fragrance just yet, or are you wanting to get it? What do you think about it? What do you think about tropical fragrances in general? Which ones do you enjoy? Which ones are your go-tos, or which ones do you think are good for that kind of vibe that maybe not a lot of people know about? Let me know all that in the comments below. But I hope you have enjoyed watching this. If you have, please consider giving it a like and a thumbs up on the video. And if you're watching this video and you're not subscribed to the channel, but you do like what you see here or what you see on the channel around, I please encourage you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel and even hit that notification bell so you can see all the other things that I have coming in the future. And trust me, there's a lot that I have planned. I'd love to have you ride along with me and join this cheap fragrance community, and maybe I can even help you discover something new along the way. And as usual, guys, that's all I have for today's video. Again, thank you for being here and for watching. I hope that you all enjoyed it, and I will see all of you again in the next video. Be blessed.